Michael Nomad Ripoll here. Welcome to Nomad's Modal Magic Show. Ironically, it's not really magic at all, but the modes are so mysterious. So many players, much like myself, get confused. Man, what are the modes? Why do we need to learn them? How do we apply them to everyday playing situations? I'm going to answer all these questions and more, and I'm going to show you a few simple steps that once you internalize, you can master the modes in any setting. We start this series with some basic fundamentals. It's important that you know these principles before we move on to tackling the modes. One of which is knowing all the notes on the fretboard. It's really important that we can identify every single note up and down the neck on all 6 strings. We also cover the basics of major scales, and we do major scales within the caged position. So we can learn how to play all of the major scales in all of the caged positions up and down the neck. Once we accomplish those 2 things, we move on to a couple cool little warm-up exercises. And then we graduate from there, going into the modes and getting the modal patterns under our fingers. In addition to learning all of the mode patterns, we also learn a bunch of cool little musical ideas and components that we can implement into each mode in connecting them together. For instance, 2-string runs. And different intervals, 3rds, 4ths, 5ths, and 6ths, all the way up to 7ths and octaves. Or arpeggios. When you take all of these different little ideas and connect them, you can create some really cool musical ideas in your soloing. But let's be honest, all of that information is useless unless you know how to apply it in real-life musical situations. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you how to do. So in the first part of this series, we focus on learning the modes and their infrastructure, getting all the fingerings down and all of the different components that deal with that. The second part of the series, we learn how to apply them, once again, in real-life musical situations. So whether you're jamming on the couch with a buddy or you're in the garage with a full-blown band, you will be well equipped in how to apply the modes to every single solo you play. I like to think of the modes in 2 ways, series and parallel. In series, we play through each modal pattern in diatonic succession of the scale. In parallel, we take a tonal center and learn how to devise each mode by altering the scale formula. Thinking of the modes in series is important when you're learning how to execute each modal pattern and actually play. Thinking of the modes in parallel is more important in understanding the theory and how each mode is applied in a musical context. Once we understand the modes in 2 contexts, series and parallel, we will apply a 3-step process. in which we will use to determine which mode or modes goes with any given chord progression in a musical setting. So what are you going to need to know to start this course? Number one, first and foremost, you must know all of your 12 key signatures. The circle of fifths. Study it, memorize it. Trust me, it's only going to help you in the long run. Number two, you have to understand the basic concepts of a major scale and a minor scale, in addition to knowing all of your minor and major pentatonic forms. Throughout the course demonstrations, you'll witness me applying a bunch of different techniques, from bends to vibrato, slurs and slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs. It will definitely help if you have a good fundamental understanding of all of these techniques. This series is not a technique-based series. I do not teach any of the techniques mentioned. Rather, I teach the concept of how to apply all of the modes in a musical setting. When you are finished with the series, you will know how to confidently apply all 7 modes to any soloing situation over a whole slew of different chord progressions. Remember, it's not magic and it's not mysterious if you understand what's behind it and if you apply the simple steps in the methodical fashion that I've laid out for you in this course. Okay, enough talking. Let's dive right in. Once again, Nomad here for the Modal Magic Show. Stay tuned.